Hey everybody, Sal Capaccio here, WGR Sports Radio 550, Bill's sideline reporter, inviting you to do what I do every Wednesday and Friday night. That's check out 30 Minutes Live with CDP, coming at you from Ontario, right on your Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube channels. You can check it out every Wednesday and Friday night, just like I do. 30 Minutes Live with CDP.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Live with CDP podcast on this Thursday, July 22nd. I'm especially happy today because my Detroit Tigers have won their seventh straight game with a 7-5 win over Texas today. The Tigers are 47-51 and they're really playing well. And Steve Yzerman made a big trade today too with the young goalie from Carolina. So I will bring on my guest today, Christine Lisi. Just give me 1 minute. I'm just very happy with what's going on with the Pistons right now, the Red Wings, and the Tigers obviously are playing good baseball. And I'm looking forward to my guest today, Christine. And just bring 1 second and I will bring her on. And she's also a huge long life Buffalo Bills fan and Buffalo Sabres fan too. But I think she's more optimistic about the Bills right now than the Sabres. So 1 second, I'm going to bring Christine on right now. Hi, Christine. Hi, how are you?
The way my studio is set up, sorry about that. I'll try to move my microphone. So there we go. I got my big microphone. Hi, I'm good. How are you, my friend?
Good. My podcast changed quite a bit since I talked to you. I think in January on Instagram. So yeah, StreamYard. I use StreamYard now. So and I can put graphics. I even use the Bills Stadium as my background on here too.
Yeah, I noticed that. That's awesome. That's awesome.
And Sal Capaccio, I figured you're a Bills fan, so
yes.
I had to do the intro. So I do my intros and graphics based on who my guest is.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
So thank you so much for coming on today.
Oh, I'm glad to be here. Nice to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Well, thank you for coming on. I appreciate Michael as well. So this is great. I was going to say, how was your day?
It was good. It was busy, but it was good. Busy's always good.
Yeah, actually, that is true. It makes time go quicker as well, and it also makes your day go quicker when your sports teams win too.
Yes. So it makes everything a little lighter. So
yeah, I'm definitely happy with what AJ Hinch is doing in Detroit with that young team and their pitching staff, and I'm optimistic this team could even maybe be 500 by the end of the year.
I think anything's possible. There's a long way to go.
Definitely. And then Steve Yzerman pulled off a trade getting that young goalie from Carolina. So now the Red Wings have a number one goalie probably for the next 5-10 years. And they didn't give up much. They gave up Jonathan Bernier and a third-round draft pick to Carolina. So things are looking up for my Detroit teams.
That's great. Yeah, a goaltender is huge. I know that, I always think that if you have a goaltender, that can take you a long way.
Definitely. It's just like in baseball, pitching, starting pitching and bullpen.
Yes, especially in the postseason. Like in the regular season, you might be able to win games 9-8 in baseball, 9-8, 8-7, something like that. But in the playoffs, it's rare that you would be able to go up against another team that would give up as many runs as you do. It's not usually like that.
And you must be excited because Bill's training camp will probably be starting up, in a week or less than a week?
Yeah, I think the 27th, is that next Wednesday, I think?
Yeah, it is. Actually, it's Tuesday. It's a Tuesday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but the expectations are going to really be high for the Bills this year. Do you honestly, do you think the expectations could affect how they start out the season with reading the media headlines and all the expectations? Or do you think Sean McDermott will keep these guys grounded?
I think that they'll be fine. I think that they're just going to kind of stay the course and do what they do. I think Coach McDermott does a nice job of keeping them, in not letting them get too high. Like last year, they went on that run, and it was something to watch. But they didn't overlook at the end of the season, they didn't overlook anybody, and they didn't look past Indy or Baltimore. They just kind of kept that focus, and they just ran into a really tough Chiefs team in the AFC title game.
Yeah, and like I said, I think this team kind of reminded me. They went 12-4 that year, and then they got to the AFC title game against. Sorry about that, Christine.
That's
I apologize.
Okay.
I guess
okay.
I have my I have Wi-Fi pods, and that's supposed to keep my signal at 100%. But I guess as anybody working in radio and stuff, sometimes technical difficulties do
Yes.
happen.
Yes,
So,
anything can happen, live radio, live TV, anything can happen, so no
so
problem.
I've learned how to ad lib too. I'm still working on that too.
Mhm.
So, but I was gonna say, in the NFL, it's like I said, one year like the Eagles won in 17, and then I thought they were going to win back-to-back Super Bowls, and they never did. So
Mhm.
every season is totally different. So I think, but I think the Bills should have a good team. I think the one thing they have to have for them again this year is to keep healthy, keep Josh Allen healthy, and keep the running game. I think they need to use the running game a little bit more to take a little less pressure off Josh Allen, in my opinion.
Yeah, and they need their edge rushers need to be a little bit better than they were last year as well. But yeah, the running game's important. I know it seemed like Josh was a lot of the running game, but I think yeah, the getting some sort of running game is crucial for them this year too.
What about the tight end situation? Do you think they will address that, or do you think they're happy with Dawson Knox and the other gentleman they got, Jesse Hollister from the Seahawks?
I think so, but you never know. Like I keep hearing things about this was earlier in the offseason, like maybe Zach Ertz would come, they might work out something with him, but you never know. Like I don't know how like all the money and stuff works and what they're willing to part with. So, I like our team. I really do. Just a couple tweaks here and there. Like last year was such a fun ride. Like everybody and I guess it just seemed like people kept waiting for them to like, oh, here come the Patriots, here come the Patriots, and you kept waiting for not me personally, but you kept hearing people say, oh,
Yeah.
here comes New England, here comes New England, and the Bills just kept riding the Josh wagon or whatever you want to call it. So last season was just so much fun in a world that had gone so awful and so wrong. Like for
Yes.
those of us who like sports, whether it was once we got sports back, it was just really wonderful to sit every Sunday for 3 hours and watch my team have a chance. There were
I
very few games they weren't in.
I think I appreciate sports more than before because when you have something and it's taken away from you, when you get
Right.
it back, I personally, I appreciate things a little bit more as well. And I'm just looking forward to getting back doing some camera work for Rogers TV for the Guelph Storm games as well. It's just like you said, when something's taken away from you, you appreciate it more. And things are looking up here. It's still a little behind you guys in the States, but at least now the Blue Jays are back in Toronto.
Yeah.
The OHL starting up. My semi-pro basketball team that I volunteer with, they're back playing at home too. So it's just going to be a little bit longer, but things are definitely improved from a year ago.
Yeah, it's nice because we didn't have sports for basically 4 months, and then I think the other thing too, it was a little funny, like, you hear people like not a lot of people, but some grumbling about who was in the NBA finals and who was in the Stanley Cup final. And I was like, you know what? I don't care who's in it because we had it. and
Yes.
and I'm just happy that we were able to get through these seasons and we got to crown champions in both sports. Like that was what was important for me. Like I can't complain about stuff like that. People want to say, well, but so like, this team was hurt and that team was hurt and people want to discount the Canadiens. And I was like, they got a really good goalie. You
Yes.
can ride a really good goalie pretty far. And like people want to point in the NBA like, oh, well, the Lakers were hurt, the Clippers were hurt. Well, it didn't work out, but we had sports and we were able to, credit the Bucks
Yeah.
and credit the Suns for getting there. And the same with the Lightning and the Lightning are a really good team. But Montreal for getting there. Their coach had
Def-
COVID and they still, they probably weren't going to win that series because they just didn't have the horses.
yeah.
But, they got there.
They got a good young nucleus with Cole Caulfield, and
Yeah.
the one player I know very well from the Guelph Storm, when he was here a couple years ago, Nick Suzuki. He's a really
Mhm.
good kid. I wouldn't call
Mhm.
him a kid; he's 21, but
Yeah.
really good guy. And that was a really good trade Vegas and Montreal did. Montreal sent Pacioretty to
Mhm.
Vegas, and Montreal got Suzuki back. But I think Montreal's on the right path, and it just shows you how hard it is to win the Stanley Cup. But I was going to say Steve Yzerman still should get credit for putting that Tampa Bay team together.
Oh, sure. Oh, sure. Yeah, he did. He did a really a good job with that team, and it was nice to see him when he did go back to Detroit. That was, sorry,
It's
somebody's walking
okay.
by the house.
It's
There might be
okay.
a lot of there might be a lot of that.
No worries. No worries. That's okay. I like dogs. I miss having a dog. So
Oh Lord. Somebody's probably walking by the house with their dog and she would like them to stop, so she just barks and barks.
That's okay. No worries.
Or there's a
Um,
bunny in the front yard. There could be a bunny in the front yard, so
well, you guys don't need an alarm system. You got the dog right there.
yes, that's very true. Very true.
That's good. Okay, I'm just going to ask you a couple questions. I know I did ask you in January on Instagram, but I didn't have this platform back then. So I'm just going to ask a couple of questions about your background, and then we'll just talk about the Bills and the Sabres and stuff. I did send Michael a list of the questions I was going to ask you. So,
Yep.
okay, no problem. And I'm also promoting your website on here too.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
And yeah, like I said, so I figure that would be okay too as well. Yeah. So one thing I wanted to ask you first, can you just tell my audience that didn't watch us in, I think it was December or January, can you just
Mhm.
tell them a little bit about yourself and when did you want to pursue a career in sports radio?
Well, I I don't know if I should go shut her up. I started when I was very young. Like I think I was about 7 and some of your listeners in like the Ontario area or, in the Buffalo area would understand that Irv Weinstein was like a legend and I watched him do the news and I thought that would be really cool. So I kind of wanted to do that, my whole life. And then I eventually I went to college and I did stuff and then I got out of college and I was able to do both news and sports. And then once we got to 9/11, I always wanted, or once 9/11 hit, I should say, I decided news is too much and I just wanted to do sports. So at that point, I just kind of moved into sports and then I was at ESPN part time then. And then I was able to be full time there. So it was kind of a long journey. It started when I was 7 and went through, I wanted to do news and sports and then eventually just sports.
Okay. Um, I was going to say, did you have any mentors when you were first starting out in the industry? Like somebody that gave you a little bit of guidance when you're first starting out?
Yeah, I wanna say my first boss in Olean, New York, Gary Neese, he was so wonderful. I worked at this, very small station, and he let me do everything. I did news, I covered the Bills training camp in Fredonia, New York. I did production, I wrote, I did all this great stuff. And, he guided me, like, he let me he let me learn and let me, like, do and he was just like he is a wonderful person and he was like he was probably one of the best people I've ever worked for. He was great.
Because I usually ask that question with my guests too about mentors and just how people get into their careers and stuff like
Mhm.
that. So I always ask that. I was going to say my next question I was going to ask you, what was your first job in radio then?
Oh, it was at that little radio station in
Station.
yep. I was lucky because I worked there in college too. It's in my hometown and I would go home for breaks whether it was summer, Christmas, spring break and I would work. And I did weekends. I filled in for the news director. I did all sorts of cool stuff. Like I did everything. I don't know if the opportunities are out there like that anymore, like in terms of what local stations have, but that was just so wonderful for me. Like especially like covering Bill's training camp. Like that was awesome. I must have done that 2 or 3 summers. They sent me off with a recorder and I went and I did my thing. I talked to guys as they came off the field and it was a blast.
And I was going to say, everyone I've talked to in this industry has also said internships and doing volunteer work has helped them in their careers too.
Yes. Yep. A lot of that stuff too is very helpful. I think as long as you can make connections and learn as much as you can, that's really really important. Try to be able to do a bunch of different things.
And that's what I'm trying to do with Rogers TV and then with my podcast. And John Murphy told me this too. I was amazed I got him on here, but he was really great. He just told me to keep doing what I'm doing, build contacts, build rapport with your guests.
Mhm.
And I've been very lucky. And one gentleman who's with the London Knights, he's their color analyst. He's also a broadcasting professor. College, I thought about maybe taking radio in school, and he thinks I can do this with the podcast and with building my connections and obviously with Rogers and stuff like that. And maybe hopefully a local radio station, maybe this summer when things get better, I can
Mhm.
maybe possibly do an internship as well.
Yeah, that's a good idea. But John's a great guy, by the way. Like building all your contacts that you can and just kind of doing everything. Hang on, she let herself out
It's
and I got to
okay.
let her back in. I
Okay.
This dog.
It's okay, no worries. Anyways, guys, my friend Christine is just going to look after her dog, so she'll be back in a minute or two. Okay, so while we're waiting for Christine to come back, I'm just going to talk a little bit of sports news. Let's see, the Detroit Tigers today won their seventh straight game, 7-5 win over the Texas Rangers. They swept Texas, and now the Tigers are 47-51 under first-year manager AJ Hinch. So. Anyways, Christine's back.
Okay.
So
I'm
I've learned.
sorry.
No, it's okay. My friend Mike Hogan, who's the voice of the Toronto Argonauts for the CFL here, I had him on a couple of months, and he had the
Mhm.
dog too, and he had to leave for 2 minutes too. And then he's like, "Yeah, so." But I know with podcasts and radio too,
Uh-huh.
you can't have dead air time. So I just always make sure I'm prepared for anything. So
Oh, sure. Like we're watching our neighbor's dog too. And so our neighbor just dropped off. I was like, why are there two dogs in my house? So there's now two dogs in our house. So it's a little bit of a zoo. I'm sorry to you and your
nope,
listeners. I apologize.
nope,
Um,
that's fine.
so that's why there was a little bit ruckus earlier. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, no worries, no worries. Like I said, I'm learning stuff every day, and I
Mhm.
always like to try. I like to always try to be prepared. You can't always be prepared, but I always make sure I have extra graphics on here too, and that
Yep.
way, if something comes on with the guest, with a technical difficulty, or
Yep.
with a barking dog, then I have something to keep going on.
Yeah. Pets make life interesting because they don't always listen. So
Definitely, definitely.
oh, maybe a cat does, but a dog's like, nope. I think she let them out again. But anyways, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That's okay. No worries. No worries. But I was gonna just say I'm just gonna keep. Hopefully, I'll get an opportunity one of these days. And
Mhm.
I think I have come a long ways from when I started a year ago. So I just been very lucky to get people like yourself and John Murphy and even Bob Sochi from the Patriots. Really good guy.
Good. I think that people should be willing to help. I always try to help people any way I can. Um, like even if people I don't know reach out to me, I always think it's very, very important to help because you never know too when you might need help someday. So I think it's very, I don't know, because it's hard. This business is really hard. So I think that if
Yes.
you can help people in some way, it's important that you do that.
Definitely, and it's called pay it forward. So if I'm lucky one day to have the opportunity in radio, I will
Yeah.
do the same for what yourself and John
Yep.
and Bob and
Yep.
Mike Hogan. I've really been lucky. I just reach out to people and everybody in your industry. Christine has treated me like one of their own, and that's why I love doing this podcast because everyone I've met as a guest on here has been really great, totally cool with me.
That's awesome. That's really, really good. They should be because I don't know. But we're all lucky to be, where we are. And I think that being kind is good.
And it just took me almost 49 years to find my passion, but it's never too late.
Nope.
Definitely.
Colonel Sanders of Kentucky Fried Chicken, he did that at like in his 70s. So nothing's ever too late.
And I was going to say, you just finished your what, 20th year with ESPN Radio?
Uh, let's see. Yeah, I think like Labor Day weekend I start year 21 or
One.
I can't
Wow.
remember now. I started in 2000, so yeah, it's
Where does the
been
time go?
I know it's been quite a journey. I was thinking about that because our house, I think our 20th anniversary of being in our house is like next month sometime, which I can't believe.
Time goes quick, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
especially as you get older, it goes really fast.
I've noticed that. I've definitely noticed that
Yeah.
because I'll be the big 50 next year. So
Oh
it's like,
yeah. Yep.
so, but I'm hoping I'll be able to do sports trips again in the States before I'm 50. So
You
cross your
should be able
fingers.
to. Yes.
We'll cross your fingers. But the next question I was going to ask you, just quickly again, what were your overall thoughts on the 20 Bills, and what are your expectations for this 2021 team? Realistically, I don't know if you want to talk wins or losses, but
I love the ride they took us on last year because I wasn't sure what we were going to get. And I just the leaps and bounds that Josh took forward with Coach Brian Dayball, the OC, like I that was just it was incredible to watch. And by some weird fluke, like we ended up with free Sunday ticket last year, so we watched all the Bills games, which was really really awesome. And it was just I missed those days from like when I was in college and just out of college, and the Bills were really good, and Sundays were appointment television. So it was really it was awesome. It was just neat to see them, become the team that they were. It's it stunk at the end. Like I kept trying to tell myself I did enjoy it, but I'm like, oh, when this ends, if it's not in a Super Bowl, when this is gonna be not great. And it wasn't. But like they just the way that they played all year long, it was just awesome. And then I think I don't see why they can't have another strong year. Um but you never know, right? Sports is weird.
I was gonna say, do you think Brandon Bean? I think it's Brandon Bean, the general manager. Do you think he addressed some of their needs in the offseason with the draft? Just quickly.
I think so. I think so. They got the edge rusher out of Miami, Russo. I think so. I mean, that that was one of the needs that I think that we really that that was important to kind of fill this off season. And the running backs, hopefully something they can get somebody going there too. I miss Thurman Thomas.
Oh yes, I was gonna say, and the other running back. I'm trying to think who it is. Is it Moss? Yeah, Moss. If they can keep him healthy, to me, he's a kind of a change up from Singletary. Singletary's kind of a finesse running back like Miles
Mhm.
Sanders is with the
Mhm.
Eagles. But I think Zach Moss, that's his name. I think if he can stay healthy, he can give them a little more physicality in the running game.
Yes. Yes, they do need to do something because you can't keep putting your core. I know Josh is it doesn't seem to mind, but like you can't keep putting your guy out there because he could get hurt. Like Carson Wentz had that awful injury that one year, the year they won
Yep,
the Super Bowl,
yep.
and Nick Foles came in and did a great job, but like you can't risk your guys like that.
I was gonna say yeah, because Allen's one guy they cannot afford to lose. I,
No.
I know they brought in Mitchell Travinsky, but I don't think he's a long term answer if Allen's going to be out for a long time. If it's only going to be 2 or 3 games, then I think he'd be okay. But I think if it's going to be half a year or longer, I think they'd be in trouble.
Right, I agree. I do think Mitchell is a better backup than Matt Barkley. So I like that option better. And I think that we're the Bills are just going to have Mitchell for a year. And then I think it's just a 1-year deal. I think they're also he'll be a good backup, but I think they're also trying to help him in you know what I mean? In the
Yep.
same way because he had such a rough go in Chicago and so he can get a fresh start and people can see what he can do and then, that they can probably move on from him, I would think.
I'm just trying to think who's their third string quarterback. Isn't it that young kid they drafted last year?
I don't even know.
Okay.
I used to be really good at that. I used to know
Okay.
the Bills a long time ago. The Bills had Jim Kelly, Frank Reich, and
Yeah.
Gail Gardner, and I knew those guys.
Yeah.
So, but yeah.
I think it was Gil Gilbert, but didn't his son get
Oh,
in the
Gail
NFL
Gilbert. I'm
too?
sorry, Gail Gilbert. I'm
No.
losing my
Yeah.
mind.
Yeah, I actually remember that. I can't believe I remembered that. But I was
Yeah.
gonna say, didn't his son or somebody related to him? It was in football too. I can't remember
Yes.
if that.
Yeah. That's when you're old, right? When you start
Yes,
hearing, like we were watching last night, and the Pitlick kid, his who got picked by the Kraken, his uncle's Lance. Because I remember
yes,
seeing that, I'm like, "Is
for
that
the
his
Ottawa
kid?"
Senators. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm like, "Is that his kid? Is that" you know what I mean? I was just trying to
yeah,
think of and then
yeah,
but it was neat because they fonted his uncle. I'm like, "Oh, there you go."
yeah.
Yep.
I was so happy about Seattle having a team. I think that'll be a good market for the
Yes.
NHL.
Yeah, it's a great
Definitely.
yes. Yep.
Okay. Speaking of the NHL, my next question is NHL related. Thoughts on the Sabres last year, and yes or no? Do you think Jack Eichel will remain a Sabre in 21-22 season?
Last season was it was a disaster. They didn't have the right coach. I was happy when to see what they did under Don Granato, and I was
Hmm.
happy that he got the job. I had talked to a couple of the writers and I said, "Well, what do you think?" And they thought that he had the inside track. And they played much better under him. Um I would like I don't it's hard to know like what I would like to see them get a goalie. um I don't know what's going on there. I would like them not to trade Jack because they tanked for him in the first place. And then what are you left with? Like I don't know if you can get what he's worth. I hope that they can heal that relationship. I hope Kevin Adams can. But I don't know cuz nothing you don't know anything like I'd be concerned about the surgery too that he wants on his neck because nobody's ever gotten that except an MMA guy and that seems risky to me. Um, that's just my opinion, but I understand that he's frustrated. I don't know all the ins and outs of like what went on, and I know that they've been getting their butts kicked in every year, and that's not fun. But I, I don't know. I don't know where you get the value. I hear Anaheim, I hear the Kings. Like, I would send him out west. I wouldn't, I wouldn't send him to anybody in the East. I know people are like, well, the Rangers have all this young talent. Well, the Rangers aren't going to give up who the Sabres want for Jack
Hmm.
Eichel. You know what I mean? They're not going to give up um Kako, or they're not going to give up Lafreniere. Like, they're
Yep.
not going to give up, because I know Jack has been hurt and he hasn't been, but he's a number 2 overall pick, and he's what people think is a generational talent. So that's hard for me to know, what way they're going to go.
I was gonna say, and Jack Eichel, I think only has 1 year left on his contract as well.
No, he's got well, before the no trade kicks in, he's got a
Okay.
long contract.
Okay.
They signed him after his entry level contract. I think they signed him to an 8-year deal.
Okay.
And I don't know. I think the no trade kicks in soon, but I don't know off the top of my head. I don't know how soon, but he got good money. Like, he got good money.
I was gonna say, and then Sam Reinhart. There's been rumors about him wanting out too, and the thing
Yeah.
is, I really think they did the right thing with bringing Don Granado back, because I found the last month, or when he took over as interim coach, the team actually was more competitive and won some
Yes.
hockey games, and
Yes.
even Rasmus Dahlin, your young defenseman, seemed to regain his confidence too.
Yes. Yes, I agree. Like, they just seemed to, and you just listen to what the guys say, like, we had a plan. We had some sort of game, it just, I don't know. There was a big difference. And Granado, he took over an awful situation too. Like, they had lost, I don't know, like, I don't know, 15 games in a row
In
or
a row,
whatever it
yeah.
was. And it was just a terrible situation. But you're happy for a guy like Granado because, like, he gets a chance, right? At the
Yep.
NHL level.
I think they have got a lot of work to do this offseason. And like you mentioned before, I think the goaltending situation has to be upgraded. Before this team can be competitive again, they're going to have to do something with the goaltending. Like, obviously resolve the Eichel and Reinhardt situation. And also they're going to have to make sure they have a strong draft. And I think they need to bring in goaltending that's a little more competent as well. So I do think the Sabres will be improved this year. I'm not sure how much they'll be improved by.
Yeah, they can't be much worse, right?
So
I am excited about having the number 1 pick. It was funny because we were sitting there watching the lottery, and I said to Rob, I was like, "Oh," because it's getting down there, and I'm like, "Oh, we're gonna end up with number 2 again." But then,
yeah,
and then Buffalo got the number 1 pick, and it was just funny to see the relief on Kevin Adams' face, because that's a huge, I
yes.
I don't know, I don't know what way they're gonna go or anything, but I I don't know. I can only be hopeful.
I was going to say, and my Pistons got the number 1 pick too for the
Yes.
first time since 1970. And I know the Red Wings are number 6, but with Steve Yzerman,
Mhm.
I'm not worried about that number 6 pick.
No.
But the draft will be very important for the Sabres' future success. So,
Yes.
okay, I just wanted to get your thoughts on that. And are you still okay for a few more minutes?
Sure. Yep.
Okay, I just wanted to check because I know I talk a lot. That's maybe why I want to get in the radio.
No, 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 that's fine. I don't know where the 2 dogs went, but hopefully they're here somewhere. They're quiet,
Okay.
which might not be good.
No, that's okay. No worries. No worries. I like dogs better than most people.
Yes.
Yes, or dogs and cats, pets. So,
Mhm.
okay. I'm just gonna get onto the NBA for a quick couple questions. What were your thoughts on the 21 NBA Finals between Phoenix and Milwaukee, with the Bucks winning in 6 and the Greek Freak as the Finals MVP? Giannis.
I thought it was fantastic. The funny thing with Giannis is I remember I don't know if it was game 1 of the finals or the East Finals, and he had hyperextended. Everything flows all together now. I was trying to remember when he hyperextended his knee, and I was like, he was like not going to play, and then he was maybe, because I was at work. Is this, I'm at work and all this happens. He's out. He's doubtful. He's maybe. He's game time decision. And then I get home and he's on the court and I'm like, "What?" But I'm happy for them. I didn't have any, I wouldn't have had any problem with the Suns winning because of Chris Paul and Coach Williams with the tough stuff that he's gone through in his life. But I was happy for Milwaukee. It was nice. And I think the nice thing about it, and Giannis kind of talked about this in his post-game presser, was that, like, he didn't leave. Like, last summer, people are like, "You're nuts for signing.
Yep.
You're not gonna win there. You're not gonna
Yep.
win there, right?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "I wanna be here." And I don't know, I just think that was it it worked out for them. And I couldn't be happier. And then, Coach Bud has to hear all this stuff like, oh, everybody's questioning his decisions and what he does. And I'm, I don't know, like in the past, sometimes don't you have to tip your hat to the other person? Right? Like
I
when they
agree.
lost,
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes that stuff just happens, but I thought it was wonderful. And I think that it's a nice celebration. Like as a fan of small market teams, like that was nice to see that. And m- maybe that'll help small market teams. Like maybe not everybody will want to leave to go to, you know, the Lakers or the Clippers or whoever, like maybe Zion and you don't know, but maybe he'll stay in New Orleans, right? Like maybe that can say, you know what, we can build something here and make it work.
Well, that's what it was like in the old days. Like Larry Bird
Yes.
never left Boston.
Right.
Isaiah
Right.
Thomas, Magic Johnson,
Right.
even
Right.
Jordan. They didn't want to go to other teams. They wanted to win in
Right.
their city. So
Yep.
I think it's great for the league, and I hope next year Phoenix actually gets a championship because they've been around since the early '70s, and it'd be nice. I think they were around in '68, '70, or around there, and they've never won one. And their radio guy has been doing their games since 1972.
Wow.
Al
Wow, my
McCoy.
goodness. Okay. Okay,
I
yeah,
was reading
like, I
that
remember
up.
the name.
Yeah, and I'm like, he does. I'd like to. I really like to see him be able to call one, and I would like to see the Suns get one, and then the Pistons can start winning them again.
Yes. Yeah, it's been a while for them too.
So okay, my other question for you is, did you attend any Blue Jays games at Celine Field, and do you think Buffalo in the future will be more of a Jays town, or do you think it'll still remain Yankees and Boston town?
I did not go, but can I tell you a quick cool story?
Yes,
My brother and sister-in-law took my nephew Jackson with his friend, and his friend's family went, and they were playing the Yankees because my family are Yankee fans. And they went, it was the night that Josh Allen threw out the first pitch. And Jackson, who's my nephew, and his friend Lucas went down by the dugout. And after Josh threw out the first pitch, I don't know how it happened, but he gave Jackson the ball. And so like I have pictures of Jackson with the baseball, and like the local TV station, one of them interviewed him, and it was neat to see somebody had posted that on Twitter, and then somebody who I knew in Rochester media reached out to me, and then he was in the local paper, and it was just a really really neat thing. And that's the neat thing about sports, is that like my nephew, who was so shy, and like he finally, like the last couple years, he's played baseball and he's on a team. And just like I watched him get interviewed as an 8-year-old, and to hear his answers and stuff. And it was amazing that like this shy little kid, because of sports, has developed into this confident little boy. And it's just really really nice to see. And I noticed a lot of a lot of my friends on Facebook wearing Blue Jays stuff. So it could also be a Blue Jays town, with those young kids. A very exciting team, and
definitely.
it's just over the border. So I mean, I think that the Yankee fans probably won't switch, but some fans might, because the Indians had a team there. The M's, if they win a little bit, you never know.
Definitely. Okay. And I just got two more questions to ask you. The one I wanted to ask you, do you have any favorite kind of music? I always do this, a fun question. Favorite music, and do you have any favorite restaurants? And obviously, one of your hobbies is baking, from what I see on social media. So I always ask my guests one fun
Mhm.
question, if that's okay.
My favorite music, I listen a lot to E Street Radio in my car, especially when I travel, because the Bruce concerts will get you through like 3 hours. So I'm a big fan of him. And favorite restaurant, there's a really nice Italian place in near ESPN. We haven't gone in a long time, but it's called Pagliacci's. It's a nice Italian place. And then what was the other question you asked, my friend? Was there
I
another?
guess some other hobbies, but I know one of them is baking.
Yes. Yep, I'm a big baker. I love to I don't know. I guess like I do enjoy working out and like walking the dog, and um I think that's probably those are like two of my favorite, hobbies.
Okay, and you're baking. I put on weight just looking at it. So is that something you've always had an interest in, or just something you took up recently?
No, I've always had an interest being Italian, growing up like like, and even now, food is like a big part of the family, and my husband's Italian, so a big part of his family. And um, I've always enjoyed, like, I have so many nice memories of baking with each of my grandmothers when I was little, or aunts, my mom. Um, and I'm lucky that, like, my mom's mom is still with us. She's gonna be 96 in the fall. Huge Bills fan,
Wow.
by the way. She
Wow.
knows everything. Like, she watches, she reads, like, it's amazing. Um, and I even now, like, I go at Christmas time, not this year because of the pandemic, but like when I go visit my mom for Christmas, we always make like 200 cookies, way too many cookies for the family and stuff. And it's just, it's something nice. Like, I have two goddaughters. My best friend from college lives about 40 minutes from here. And like, I bake with them when they come down. They're getting a little older, so I don't see them as much anymore. But like, it's just, it's a way to create nice memories. And I like to bring stuff to work because that makes people happy. And, you know, I got to make something tonight, I think. Maybe I'll bring it to work tomorrow. So
Okay. Well, if I ever work with you at ESPN one day, I think my diet's gonna go to
you'll have to
go
run
away. But
extra laps. You'll have to run extra
definitely.
laps.
Definitely. Okay. And I'm just going to wrap this up because I know I like to talk a lot and I don't want to go over my time. Any advice for those, and not just myself, looking to pursue a career in radio? If you have any quick advice.
I would just, you know, it depends kind of what you want to do. Like, I'm more of like a news person, anchor person. So like, for me it was important to work on writing. Um I think practice reading, practice what you do and listen back and see what you do and you do not like critique yourself. Um make as many connections as possible, whether it's on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter. Just ask people, like, you know, what you can do, if you can find a way to get in working with a local sports team, a college, a local radio station, uh different things like that. Find out what else you can do. Like, don't be, if you want to be on air, that's fine, but learn how to do other stuff too, so you're more valuable to a company, to a, you know company, radio station, TV station, whatever, podcasting service. I think that's what I would do. I think the listening back to yourself is also very important.
And I do that at nighttime when I go to my other job on midnights.
Mhm.
When I have some downtime, I listen to my previous podcast on
Mhm.
audio and just see what I did okay, what I did good, and what I think I could do better, and just try to improve that.
Yep.
So, okay, I appreciate that. And before I let you go, Christine, where can my audience find you on social media?
Okay. I always forget because I'm always logged in at ESPN Christine on Twitter. And then it's Christine Lisi. I think if you just search me on Facebook and Instagram, uh, I pop up ChristineLisi. And I have cookiesbychristine.com is my website. And I was on Anchor doing podcasts, and I haven't had any time. I have baking videos on YouTube. I haven't done any in a while. Um, but it's hard to find time to do everything. But
Yes.
if you go on YouTube and you search Christine Lisi, you'll see my baking videos. Charlie's in some of them. That's our old dog, and Gracie is in the one that I did a couple months ago.
Okay. I was going to say, Christine, like I said, I probably kept you a little longer than I told Michael, 25 minutes, but I just wanted to say thank you so much for coming on my podcast again. I really appreciate this. And maybe again, maybe during the football season, I can maybe have you come on and we'll just talk strictly Bills football and maybe a little Eagles football as well, maybe in the fall, if that's okay.
Sure, sounds good. Thank you, Chris.
All right. Thanks, Christine. And we'll keep in touch on social media. Have a good night.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed my podcast interview with Christine Lisi from ESPN Radio. I want to say thank you again, Christine, for coming on. And I'm looking forward to another podcast tomorrow as well. And I'll put that on here tomorrow. Next Live with CDP podcast, guys, is going to be Friday, July 23rd at 1 o'clock. I'm going to have my guest, Allison Martinick, radio personality for WNIC 100.3 FM in Detroit, to talk about her long career in morning radio in the Detroit market. And then I have a second podcast tomorrow night, same day, Friday, July 23rd, 5 o'clock. I'm going to have another guest, Tila Graham, part-time traffic reporter, producer, for WWJ 950 in Detroit, and a weekend edition host from WDET 101.9 FM in Detroit. So I've got 2 more podcasts tomorrow, and I'm looking forward to that. So yeah, like I said, guys, thank you for all coming on, and I'll read the comments here. Hey, Mark, thank you for watching, Mark. You're one of my loyal viewers. I appreciate it. Thank you for watching on YouTube, Mark. And thank you for watching YouTube, everyone, and on Twitter. Hopefully, I will have my Facebook page back in the future. They decided to disable it, and I'm appealing their decision because I think they're in error, and we'll leave it at that. But guys, like I said, my podcast will always be on my YouTube channel and Twitter at Chris D. Pame as well. Mark, thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoy the Nighthawks game tonight. The Nighthawks are at home at the Sleeman Center at 7 o'clock, taking on Saskatchewan in CEBL action at the Sleeman Center, and up to 1,000 fans can be at the game. So anyways, Mark, thank you for coming on and watching, and I really appreciate everybody coming on here. And before I go, guys, just a couple other things. Live with CDP podcast, the audio version is always going to be on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Anchor FM, Breaker, Pocket Cast, Radio Public, Spotify, and Cashbox. As soon as I'm done with my live podcast, I will download the audio to those sites as well. Anyways, guys, some other news. Let's see. The Tigers today, you guys know, won their 7th in a row, 7-5 over Texas. They swept Texas, and now they're 47-51 under first-year manager A.J. Hinch, who should get some consideration for AL manager of the year. And then some other big news today, guys. The Detroit Red Wings acquired goalie Alex Nikovic, if I pronounce that right, from Carolina. He had an outstanding rookie year with Carolina last year, and I'm really happy. The Red Wings gave up Jonathan Bernier and a 3rd-round draft pick to Carolina for Alex Nikovic, if I can pronounce that correctly. And yeah, and he last year, the 25-year-old went 15-5-3 with the Hurricanes in his rookie year, and led the NHL with a .932 save percentage and a 1.9 goals against average as well. And he was a finalist for the Calder Trophy Award as well. So Steve Yzerman has obviously addressed the Red Wings goaltending needs, and now they have clearly a number 1 goalie with Thomas Greiss as the number 2. So I think the Red Wings will be definitely could be a possible playoff contender next year because it all starts with goaltending and that. So thumbs up to Steve Yzerman for this trade today. I think it's a great trade. I like Jonathan Bernier, but I think the Red Wings have upgraded their goaltending situation here, and they signed the young goalie to a 2-year contract with a $3 million cap hit annually. So anyways, guys, so that's it for the world of sports. And the one last piece of news before I go, the NFL is warning to teams that COVID-19 outbreaks this season among unvaccinated players could and will lead to forfeit games. That came out today on ESPN, if you guys want to check that article out. So I think that's going to put more pressure on the NFL teams to make sure their players are vaccinated, because if there's a COVID outbreak, I believe the NFL and Roger Goodell are not going to do makeup games. It could be a possible forfeit. So, and no NFL team and franchise wants to forfeit a game, and due to the consequences of missing the playoffs from that, and the fact that that'll cost them a lot of money and home gate revenue as well. So, but anyways, guys, like I said, I think I'm going to wrap up my podcast show. But yeah, tune in to me tomorrow. 2 podcasts. Friday at 1 o'clock, Allison Martinek, radio personality from WNIC in Detroit, will be on. And at 5 o'clock, I will have Tila Graham, part-time traffic reporter producer again from WWJ 950 in Detroit, on as well. So 1 o'clock, Allison, and 5 o'clock, Tila. So anyways, guys, I'm going to call it a show, but I just want to say thank you to everyone on YouTube and Twitter for watching this podcast live. And I will be downloading the audio version to this for Google and Apple Podcasts, etc., in about 20 minutes or so. So, all right, guys, take care. Have a good night. Thank you for watching Live with CDP. We'll see you tomorrow at 1 o'clock.